being sex positive and kink aligned something that is coming up more in those settings, or is it still kind of less common, or are these things the way that they're kind of mainstreaming culturally? Are we seeing more therapists?
It's getting a little bit, but still kind of have a ways to go. Like with kink and with like consensual non-monogamous relationships or polyamorous relationships, there are not a lot of people that are comfortable in the field providing this type of treatment or therapy. And even like, I mean, they only recently have become part of like the APA sort of subdivisions or people who specialize in consensual non-monogamous relationships and kink. So it's happening, but it's happening pretty slowly. But it is happening. So that's good. But there are people who are very active in these sort of initiatives to get more people who are aligned in that way. It's kind of seats at the table, basically.
So one of the things we talked about earlier, and this brings it to a question, you kind of led me to the question, you fell into my trap, that I had earlier, right? One of the things we had talked about earlier were that regardless of the structure of the relationship, whether it's polyamorous, monogamous, blah, 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 whatever, you say you really are dealing with the same problems. The structure of the relationship has no real bearing on it, whether it's a same-sex marriage, whether it's a polyamorous thing going on, whether it's a monogamous. It doesn't matter. It's the same kind of problem. So talk to me about, and what are the main, that kind of main thing you run into the most?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of regardless of the relationship structure, so I do see couples that are monogamous, I see couples that are consensual, non-monogamous, I see couples that are thinking about it, I see individuals that also, I don't see the partners, but I see them, and there's kind of, these are the things that are coming up in our relationship. And I think really what it really comes down to is like a feeling of like safety and security, and really kind of cultivating that regardless of the structure of your relationship and how many partners you have, right? That could be with one partner, that could be with several partners, right? And sort of communication and really like being on the same page in terms of everything. Like even if it's really hard to come to kind of a consensus or an agreement, to really be true to yourself and to know kind of what you want and then to be able to express it. But it all comes down to being honest with yourself, right? And whatever relationship structure you are talking about, right? Like if your needs aren't being met, like to acknowledge that within yourself and then to be able to talk about it and like what you want. But to be really honest with yourself is kind of hard, because there are some people that like want to change the relationship structure or want to engage in more non-monogamous activity, but they don't actually want to, but like their partner does, and so they wish they wanted to, and so they're like, yeah, sure, I can try this, but they don't actually want that, and then that can obviously lead to like pretty disastrous outcomes. So no matter what the relationship structure is, I think that like a lack of, just the importance of communicating in that way and just being really real basically with yourself about what you want.
So do people just want to be heard? Like, do people just need somebody to talk to? Because I know people that, in relation to me, they like, I don't listen to motherfucker. I'm a horrible listener. I have no problem admitting this shit. I'm a horrible listener. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want it.
So he's trained the tough guy curse.
So I need therapy for another reason. But do people just need somebody to listen to? Because is that what's really lacking in a lot of relationships? Like, they don't listen to each other?
That's a big thing. Yes, that is a big thing. People they think they know.
It's kind of like foundational, just to let you know.
Relationship 101.
I know, right?
Like listening to each other is part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you realize Ghost Host has been single for about 20 motherfucking years? I'm just going to put that out there.
But single,
Psychology Today is a really good place to look. Psychology Today. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, people want to be listened to and heard and validated, and a lot of times we think we know what someone's thinking or think we know what they're feeling, or vice versa, or our partner should know what we want, but,
what about my thing is like, so what about the tools? Because this is why I harp on, and I am not in therapy, because I got my self-help books, but no, I always like, because I hear people say communication, and like that to me agrees, like 101, whether it's your parents, your friends, your relationship. But my thing is like the tools. I feel like people lack the tools to effectively communicate because communication could just be us doing this all day. But when you don't have the tools to even know how to it just drives me bonkers because you would think people would realize it, but they don't. Yeah. So
what's an example of a tool, just to help me understand?
Oh, don't ask me, a therapist.
So, so I sort of mentioned something before, like active listening, right? Like, like shutting up, right?
Yes.
Ghost host, like, and like really like listening and hearing and just being like, okay, this is what I think you said.
So
is that right?
So that's part of the active listening where you followed up by saying, "This is what I heard you say," and you try to summarize what you
so I heard you say this.
Okay.
And like talking about being aware of and talking about the emotions that come underneath whatever the argument is about, because we argue about all the time about like really surface level shit, right? But like it doesn't matter what the argument is about, right? Like, oh, you didn't tell me you were going to be late for dinner, or you didn't take out the trash, or like whatever stupid shit people argue about. It's never about that thing. It's always about what's happening emotionally underneath the emotional experience. And so getting people to realize that and to like really slow things down and be like, okay, what were you feeling in this moment? Like, okay, that makes sense to me that you would feel this way based on what you think, and just really like slowing the interactions down to like super like slow speed.
For you, my favorite tool is the safe word. It's like
safe words are also good.
Yeah, and I use that in my relationship too. Like if I'm doing something wrong, say it. Or if you don't like the way I'm doing something, say it.
Well, and like a timeout is really important too. You get heated and you have to just take a second, but you have to come back together. Right?
So you talking about, Miss Elizabeth, you just talking about using the safe word in general?
I call it the safe word, but it's like, for example, if like I am...
If somebody's doing something you don't like in a kink setting, you would tell them, right?
Right. So it's the same thing in a relationship. It's like instead of you getting mad at me, and
you just say red.
Y'all red all day or whatever. Just speak up, because I'm one of those people that like I don't know. I don't always see the signs. Yeah. I like take it another way because of the way like people don't always communicate the same. Yeah, we're not. That's a good way of putting it. We're not mind readers. So I'm one of those people. I like safe words. Like tell me like. Look, like throwing in the car, like I don't like this, or I'm throwing in the car, I don't like the way you said that to me, I don't like the way we did this. Like use this, like it doesn't have to be a safe word, but it kind of is the same concept.
I mean, a safe word that's a good idea though, to have like just in your general relationship, a safe word you say that somebody is
like a timeout, right? Like this is.
I like safe word, but we're kink-aligned here.
Our safe word is ours is from my partner. What did I tell him the other day? It was, what did we agree to? Oh, no, I just said to say, I don't like. Because that would make me, like that's one of the things, like, it makes my ears perk up. Like, when someone says, I don't like, da-da-da-da. Like, don't just go on into argument, because it's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But if you're dealing with go ahead.
Well, the reason why, for you, your ears perk up, if you hear your partner say, I don't like, then you're gonna stop, because, like, you want to make her happy, you love her, right? So you don't want to keep doing something if she's like, I don't like this. Right. And so that speaks to just this inherent, like, desire that we all have to make the people that we love happy. No,
but what if you're an asshole like me? And somebody says, I don't like, and I don't hear that shit. I'm being real. I don't hear the I don't like. So, but if I had like an established, like, just say red if I'm really fucking with you.
Well,
because I don't hear, I'm being... and I hope I'm not the only one in the world, but maybe there's some other motherfuckers out there.
The comments.
I don't think you're the only sadist in the world. So whatever works for you to kind of put the brakes on and be like, okay.
But I just want to put, because I'm being serious. Like, I don't like might not work. I'm not so.
But it has to work for you.
It has to work for you. So there's different things for other people. Right?
I have an angel on my shoulder, but a devil in my head.